Well, hi again. Today is February 6th. So I think this is about the fourth week of session at this point. So in today's newsletter, there's about 4 points that I wanted to talk with you about. So the first one that I'm hearing lots of messages from you about is the budget. I want to assure you that indeed we are looking at a multi-pronged approach. So some of the things we're looking at, of course, are ongoing reductions. We know that there are still places where state government is just too fat. And, you know, a lot of the suggestions I get come from state employees themselves. The second thing that the Senate is looking at is a spending cap. There is one in the Constitution, but it's not really well crafted. So this would be a spending cap that would be quite specific. So that's under debate right now, and if you're looking for details, there aren't any yet. There's a lot of options, and we're still discussing it. The Earnings Reserve Account, that's what ERA stands for. So the permanent fund, as we've talked before, is invested all over the world in property, in stocks, pension plans, those kinds of things. And that spins off earnings, which go into the Earnings Reserve Account. And out of that comes the permanent fund dividend. But there's money left over. And that money could be used for state government if we chose to do that. Senate Bill 21 is a bill offered by Senator Stedman. It was heard in State Affairs last week, and I think you might find it interesting to take a look at. It does guarantee a dividend going forward, as well as allowing that money to be used for state government. Some folks are worried that we're not looking at revenue options. Well, in fact, we are. And the motor fuel tax actually is the one that's probably gaining the most traction. So just information there. There's an article in today's newspaper there in Anchorage about travel and legislators taking trips. I'm already hearing feedback from those of you that have read it, expressing concern. I absolutely agree with your concerns. There isn't really much to do, water under the bridge, so to speak. But let me assure you, this is something that not all of us support. In fact, I find it embarrassing. Moving on to ethics, which kind of ties in with the travel, right? Senate Bill 5 would actually prohibit legislators having their own political action committees, or PACs. When a PAC forms, it can take money from lobbyists all over the state. That's prohibited for a legislator to take donations from any lobbyists who live outside of our districts. Well, if a legislator has a PAC now, they would be able to take money from all over the state, lobbyists, and accept contributions during legislative session, something that is otherwise prohibited. So this bill, Senate Bill 5, would prohibit legislators having their own political action committees. You know, a lot of people talk about ethics, and I was just recently reading some works by Plato. And millennia ago, Plato pointed out that ethics, perfect ethics, only would exist in a perfect state. And in fact, legislating ethics isn't really possible. That's an internal characteristic and internal value that individuals hold. And it is certainly something for voters to look at as they consider who they would send to the legislature. Lastly, I wanted to point out that the Anchorage LIO is having an open house on February 15th. I know I've had constituents contact our office, and we've taken them on tours of that building on West Benson. But if you're interested in going to this open house, it'll be on February 15th, and please feel welcome to come. Thanks so much for viewing the newsletter this week, and we'll see you again next week.